There was an incident with Usher where he was seen at a gala in what can only be described as a dress. Now, they do it in front of you because there's nothing you can do about it, but they make it flashy enough to appeal to somebody else that you are charged with protecting. Who? Your kids. Usher is sold out. He sold out before. And this is his last hurrah to go into the sunlight, either to be the next kingpin or, in any case, to get that last bit of fame milked out of the place that he's been before he ends his career. Again. Rituals everywhere. You can't stop seeing rituals anymore. Why? Because they're no longer seeing the need to hide anything from you. Why? They don't care no more. Because we've become a society where we'll accept anything. They'll give it to us, and because we say we need it, we'll take it. Recently, Usher had an interview with a lady named Gail King. You might remember her. Um, and the interview was unsettling, to say the least, but it made a whole lot of sense when we finally stepped back and looked at the bigger picture. Back in October, there was an incident with Usher where he was seen at a gala in what can only be described as a dress. Um, and I know some people want to say, "Oh, it could have been a kilt, or it could have been a pants with some flair on it." It's a dress. He was in a dress, and everybody knows it was a dress. Ironically, the month before, there was an announcement made about an event that was coming up in February, that being the Super Bowl halftime. Guess who got the nod to take on that prestigious event? Usher. And lo and behold, no more than a half a month later, there he is in a dress. Now, we have seen enough where we've seen people wear it, the dress I mean, get money. Some people will say, well, because you've been doing this a long time, Usher, here's what we'll do. We'll promise you a nice spot in the Super Bowl, and you can release your record at around the same time. All you have to do is wear this. This is all you got to do. This is your moment in the sun. You've been doing this a long time. Now you get to actually have the limelight for you. You've never done this before. So here you go. Here's your opportunity. Just put this on. It sounds an awful lot familiar to me, like I've seen that or read that somewhere. Oh, yeah, that's right. All you have to do is bow down, and all of this can be yours. The devil tried that before with a certain individual, but with Usher, he just gave right in. Put me in that dress. Put me in, coach. I got you. Now, during the interview, he stepped into this interview wearing something an awful lot like a dress. Now, I got pants, dress pants, and they have zippers. I ain't never bought a pants where the zipper comes nearly down to the mid thigh, all the way up to my navel. I'm sorry, that's not pants. That's not a pant. That there, what you call, is a half skirt. So now he has to stay in this mode to keep what he has going. Not only that, here's the other half to the ritual. We believe that's happening. During the interview, there was an awful lot of touching done by Gail King on Usher. And I know you're going to have people say, well, he's a superstar and ladies ogle over him, and that's nothing wrong. She just thinks he's a good looking man. And, it's hard to keep your hand. Now, let me flip the roles for you. Say an older gentleman is interviewing a younger female, and she's sitting there in a skirt. And every 5-10 seconds or so, he's putting his hand over on her thigh and squeezing the leg. And he's talking, put his hand over, squeeze. Now imagine him doing this about to the tune of 8 to 10 times. Do you think that'd be a little bit creepy? Do you think it'd be a little bit suggestive? Do you think that somehow you might be a little uncomfortable with an older gentleman constantly reaching over to touch the leg of a young lady? Why is it then that it's okay when Gail King does it to Usher? You see, his face, if you look at his face carefully, you will see something that I think it's uncomfortability, but he has to go through it with a smile, because if you don't, you lose out on a whole lot. We can revoke a lot of things from you. We've already promised you this, and now that we have the promise given to you, what do you have to do? Give us what we want. We are going to have to put you through this humiliation ritual in order to get what you say you want, which is more fame. Dropping a new album. Now, we all know that artists kind of fall off. The very few of them will keep and maintain a really high status of music as they get older. We have not heard much from Usher. We kind of heard him pop up with the whole Diddy situation. And Corey had said something about it some time ago that he believed that Usher might be the one to take over the reins for people like Art Kelly and stuff. Could it be that this is where they kicked that off? Is Corey Nostradamus? Because he could be. I think he might be. I mean, Too Strong has a habit of saying stuff and it just happens to happen. So I'm not, I mean, it might be both of us, but he's been more right than me a lot of the times here. Could it be that this is the stepping stone for Usher to get his absolute push to the stratosphere? I mean, there's another one on the female side happening the exact same way now. And they were both at the exact same event at the Super Bowl. Now, if you look at this interview, you can obviously tell that Usher is reluctant to open himself up to Gayle. His hands are crossed in front of him, and he has his head tilted. He has a little smirky smile on his face. It's not really a pleasant thing, and he never really touches back. In fact, at one point, she put her hand across, and he met her hand halfway. Then they stood up to hug, and he hugged her with his arms like this, no big, just this, halfway thing. Now, the want for money and fame could make you sacrifice a lot of your persona. Your morals go to the sideways, things that you say you want, but in order to get where you feel you need to be financially and known by people, you will give up a whole lot, including your moral stances. It seems that Usher has finally went over and said, you know what? The first phase of my beginnings was with Diddy, and I had to lay down with him. This is the last phase. I intend to get what I can. And if wearing a dress and having an old creepy lady touch on me to get me there, I'm going to do it. Besides, I get to perform at the halftime show. This is like church to them. This is the worship session. Now, they do it in front of you because there's nothing you can do about it, but they make it flashy enough to appeal to somebody else that you are charged with protecting. Who? Your kids. And they know this. Football, my 13-year-old plays football. His dream is to play in the NFL because he loves the moves, he knows how to run, and he's just, now mind you, my 13-year-old is a big dude. A big dude. He's 170, almost 6'1". He is a big guy for 13. I'm not going to lie to you and say I wouldn't mind seeing him truck some people, run them over, spike the ball, and say, Dad, but he won't do that. He'll say, Mom. I mean, I'm not saying I couldn't and wouldn't want to see that. But if this continues the way it's going, it is my responsibility to encourage him to not participate in that arena simply because it could taint and destroy his soul. This is going to get exponentially more crazy, and you're going to see more and more and more showing of who really controls this. And I don't mean people, I mean what spiritual force controls this. Usher is sold out. He sold out before. And this is his last hurrah to go into the sunlight, either to be the next kingpin, the next big name, or in any case, to get that last bit of fame milked out of the place that he's been before he ends his career. This entire situation is no longer hid from the public. It's in your face now. So the only question that remains is, what are you going to do about it?